Hey guys and gals, welcome back to the channel. This is BK Motors and Mayhem. And as you can see, there have been some changes to the CB350. So I have gone ahead and done some work to it. I installed the studs, put the bolts on, put on the right side header. Muffler is just loose there. And you may or may not notice, but I did also swap out the rear fender for the better one that a viewer of the channel and fan donated to the build. It is in really good shape compared to the one that was on the bike. It does have a couple dents in it right here on both sides, but I think I can hammer those out with some body hammers and dollies. So not too worried about that. But we will get into the real meat of this thing. In this video, I'm hoping it will start. I did take the liberty of mounting a carburetor on it, if you can see. So I got one carburetor all set up and ready to go, I believe. I had to modify the cable and everything. And I thought I would bring you guys in to show you what I had to do. But I thought I would go through the first carb and get that done and out of the way so I know what I'm doing to show you guys what to do and what not to do. So that is what we will be doing today, is getting the second carburetor set up and ready to go. Now this is a little more different from the factory one. The factory one was vacuum. These are cable. So I had to make some modifications to the throttle cable. Now, I'm still not sure if I want to keep these aftermarket carbs or switch back maybe in the future to the factory carburetors. I don't know, as you saw by the thumbnail. I'm not sure. So I know these ones are brand new and clean. So that's one benefit to using these carburetors, is I don't have to tear them apart and clean them, unlike the factory ones. And I believe they would need diaphragms and all that other nonsense. I don't feel like rebuilding carbs. I've done enough of them. I don't need to do them again. So I figured at least this way they're new. I can just pop these right on and go right ahead and try and start it. But now I know some of you might be thinking, well, now that you modified the cable, you can't switch back. Well, with that giant parts haul, I do have an extra factory throttle cable. So it's a win-win, really and truthfully. I modify these to fit these carburetors, and I still have a factory throttle cable. So I'll get ready here, and I'll show you guys how to modify these cables so that you can run these aftermarket carbs. So, like I said, guys, this carburetor is all set up and ready to go, mounted. She's good. She works. So I'm rather happy with it. So what I need to do to start to do the second carburetor is pop off this throttle cable. So just gotta go ahead, pull it apart. There we go. Throttle cable off. All right, so this is the main reason why I'm having to modify these cables, is because for the carb end, it actually needs an end more like this, not like this. So what I'm having to do is cut this off and modify this whole cable. So I'll show you what I do. So just go ahead, cut that off. Then I have to take this piece off as well, because this piece will now not fit in that aftermarket carburetor. So I have to pop this off. And with this off, it gives me more cable space to run the cable inside of the carburetor rather than outside. So this has to come off. Can be a little tricky, but it will come off. Okay, guys, so I wasn't able to really pull that off. On some of them you can, and they're not stuck on. This one, I just cut off. I was very careful, just cutting through the sheathing and not the actual cable. And now you end up with a result like that. So as you can see, you end up with a lot more cable with this off. So that will work perfect for what we have to do. So I know some of yous are also thinking, well, BK, why didn't you buy the proper cable for those carburetors? Well, I'll tell you why. I could not find one for those carburetors. Couldn't find it, scoured the internet. I looked on all the forums, all of that. I could not find anything just leading to a proper throttle cable for those carburetors. Now, maybe you guys out there know, I couldn't find anything. So what I did was I hopped on the old Amazonian website and I got this kit here. It's a custom throttle cable kit. Comes with a whole whack of fittings, some sheathing, and some cable. So it gives me tons of supplies for in the future if I have to make a throttle cable or anything like that. I got the stuff here, and I got a whole whack of these fittings. Now, I am not using all of these fittings that come in the kit. I know it's a little wet. It's been raining here. It's been outside. But it came with a bunch of these fittings. And it is a fantastic kit. Now, these are solder on links. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. But I'll pop a link down below in the description. And it worked really, really well in this instance. So I'll show you what you gotta do. Okay, guys, so I am not good at soldering. You will probably see that. But I do know to start off to solder something, you have to use your flux. So I'm just gonna plop a little bit of flux on there. Maybe a little too much. This flux is probably older than me, but it still works. A little clumpy, but that's fine. Okay, so there we go. Then you want to plop your fitting right on the end there, just like so. Then I have my handy power probe, butane soldering iron here. And I'm just gonna let everything get a little warm. just want a little more on the back half here, which is proving very difficult. All right, so now we have our end soldered on and ready to go. And yes, she is nice and tight and not going anywhere. So this is ready and set to go on the bike. So now I'll show you the next step on what we gotta do. So here we are now at the important time of this episode. One of the important parts, we'll say. We gotta mount this bad boy under here. Now, if your intake boots are like these boots and they're really hard, dried out, and seem like they've shrunk in size, maybe due to the weather, it's a little cold out, so they've shrunk. Um, what you have to do is make them a little more pliable with heat. Just go ahead, light up your little torch, and warm those. Now these boots are still good. They're not all cracked, they're not damaged, they're not anything. They're just not that pliable anymore. So like I said, you just gotta go ahead, heat them up a little bit. And that should be plenty enough to pop that car back in. Then you just want to go ahead, spray a little bit of WD in there or any other lubricant, and cram this back in there. All right, so once you've heated that up, sprayed your WD in there and popped your car back on, just go ahead, tighten her up. Get that bad boy back in place. All right, that should be good. Now, we've got to route our throttle cable in to the new carb. You just gotta take it apart. And now, I don't know, I might have to cut more of that sheathing back, but we will see. Now, your throttle cable has to go down in there. Right there. Pops out on the other side. And that is why this needed to be modified, because that other end on this would not fit. So then, this is a little bit tricky and a little bit of a puzzle to get. On your boot. Cap. Pop that in. Okay, then once you fed your cable down into the bottom part of your needle there, add your spring in afterwards. Find it's a lot easier. So I just go ahead, start it on my cable, try and keep my gasket out of the way, and just twist that on like so. Oops, gasket is getting a little tied up there. Spring is all the way on. Gasket's in. Line it up. There is only one way this goes in, so it can be a little tricky. I want to seat that. Yeah, I think she's gonna go. I'm just checking the height right now of the needle, making sure it's right. Because if you have it positioned a little too high, well, you'll end up with it idling or idling way too high, even though you don't have the throttle on. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I think I have my throttle cable routed wrong, so I might have to fix that because it seems a little tight. It seems to be pulling the needle too, just a little much. But it's not bad. It looks really good. So I could probably reroute my throttle cable after and fix that up a little bit better later. But for now, it looks really good. So we do have operating and working carburetors. So now what I'm going to do quick before I wrap this up for today, don't worry, I will be back. We will get this running, hopefully in this video, is I'm going to run some of my overflow hoses, get those fed down, and I'll be right back with that hose. So this is just fuel line that I picked up at my local parts store. No particular reason why. It was cheap and it was the right size. Just gonna feed it through the holder here. Side cutters would help, but these will do. I left a real pain for last. Way in there on the other side. And it is not easy to get to. I almost should have put it on first before I mounted the carb, but I didn't think of that, so here we are. So there you have it. Overflow lines hooked up. I'll slap on the air filter real quick. Just like so. And now we are ready for tank and fuel lines. Super exciting. But that about does it for me for today. I gotta go make dinner, have a couple cold snacks, sit down, relax, maybe watch some TV. So I will see you later on in this video. Don't worry, I do have YouTube magic. I have been a certified wizard. I am magic. Watch this. So, guys and gals, we are back. It is the next day. I have my assistant, as you can see down below, here to help me. He's more of a supervisor than an assistant, but in these cases it'll do. So some things have changed. As you can see, I popped on the plastics after I installed the carburetors. I think they look fantastic, and hopefully I believe I am done with doing anything around here except for the battery. I also got the kickstand installed right here. And when I installed it, I imagine that would be not very good content for you guys because it's only 4 bolts. But I can tell you what, it would have been very comedic for you guys in the end. Just to install this bad boy probably took me almost an hour in almost 40 plus weather. It was not fun. Turns out things are bent, things are not in the right place. It was awful. It was a nightmare to do. I also do have the other header on for anticipation of starting this bike in this video. She is about ready. So I will say, with no further ado, let's dive in and try and get this bike running. Okay, so I'm going to start off by trying to put on this fuel line that will go to the tank. Now, it is one size too small for the carburetors, but it is the perfect size for the tank. So explain that to me. You might have to heat it up to fit it on, but I'll try and just force it. That's how we'll start. Yeah, I'm gonna have to heat that up. I'll be right back. There we go. Fuel line installed. Gonna go get the tank quick to make sure that I line that up right so it's in the correct spot. I don't want to cut too short. I only have so much of the line. Okay guys, so I have routed the fuel lines, installed the fuel filter for this side. Now I just gotta route this one to the tank, cut it, install my fuel line, and we should be good to go. Okay, so there's that guy. There you have it. Fuel system is hooked up. We got fuel filters, we got fuel lines. She's good to go. All right, so now that we got the carb set up, fuel line's good, that's all ready to rock. We got to do points. I installed them. I did not clean them because I thought I'd save it for you guys and show you how to clean them. Not that you probably already don't know how to clean points. But the points are just underneath this little cover here. And there you have it. You have your points. So now what you want to do to clean them, as you see, your points. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my little screwdriver here and just scrape off the fronts of the points. And I do have sandpaper, but I'm just going to get the bulk of it off with the screwdriver here. As you can see, it is working. But boy, these points are tight, I tell you. Which is good, but makes it hard to clean them. Okay, so now that I got the bulk of it off, I'm just going to go out with a little bit of sandpaper here and just get right in there and just clean these points up. It's really hard to get in there, but whoops, I'm making it work. All right, so I hope that's about good enough. Now I'm gonna go grab my plugs and see if I got spark. All right, so I believe I have cleaned the points up enough to get spark now. I do have an issue with the other side spark plug. I might be able to salvage a boot from something or just rig it up and make it work for now. But there's something I'd like to say. This is the whole reason for this engine rebuild. Before you put your spark plugs in, this is very important. Again, this is why I had to rebuild this whole engine and get a cylinder head, other than the fact that it was seized. Well, this all leads back to the point of why it was seized. Never seize on your spark plugs. Please, guys. Never seize. All the way around. Put never seize on them. Then go ahead, drop them in your cylinder head. And that will prevent them from seizing and snapping off in your cylinder head. Trust me, it saves you from a huge amount of heartache. Okay, so now comes the matter of truth. Can I put gas in it and will it fire for the first time in decades? Okay, I didn't have a lot of gas, but I had some gas. So let's see if we can just get it to fire off on some gas. So, she might need a little kickstart with some go-go juice, guys. I'm just going to spray this right down the yap, turn her over and see what happens. She's going to go. Okay, so I swapped out the battery booster pack for a bigger battery. And now let's try and see if she'll start now. Well, guys, it is alive. After all that work, we finally heard this thing bark off and somewhat idle after decades of sitting and being seized. There you have it. The 1969 Honda CB350 runs. Not well, mind you, but it runs and barks off, and she somewhat starts. She's not bad. So I will say that about wraps it up for this video. Stay tuned for next week where maybe I try and get this running a little bit better and hopefully idling. I don't know about quite rideable. She still needs a chain, some cables, all that other nonsense. But maybe I can get it running a little bit better than what it is now. So stay tuned for next week. And guys, don't forget, like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment in below. I do check my comments, so I am watching. So until next week, this is BK Motors and Mayhem, out.